I'm Jeremy Fitzpatrick. I'm the National Service Line Leader for RPS based in Perth. I lead a team of 26 marine scientists and approval specialists, and we work in a range of sectors for all of the industries that work in the marine environment. My interest and love of the marine environment, particularly the northern marine environment, started when I was a school kid growing up in Karratha. Spent a few years up there, and my parents were country school teachers, so we'd spend a lot of time in lots of different country towns. Karratha in particular was very nice because there was a big intertidal reef platform where you could walk out for kilometres, and big rock pools with turtles and giant clams and corals and things like that. That's kind of where it all started. So I was an avid shell collector as a teenager and early adulthood. Still collect them. The most memorable projects have been the really big ones. So we've done a couple of really big ecological programs. We did all the baseline work for the Barrow Island project, where Chevron was looking at building that Gorgon facility, which is now built and operational. So we took on the role of developing, designing and implementing all of the baseline surveys. So I was kind of the ecological lead, onshore, offshore, underground. So we did studies on plants, flora and fauna, invertebrates, snails and scorpions, the submerged landscape, so the subterranean fauna, so the ones that live in caves underground, you've got to drill a well down to find them. And then all the marine, all the coral and the seagrasses and the fish and the turtles. So that was just a massive program pulling together all of the different sort of aspects of the ecology of the island, but also the other islands in that group, up through the Montebellos and the Lowendale Islands and down scattering of islands south of Barrow Island. So that ran for probably 2 years, 2 to 3 years, that ecological study. And it's a rare opportunity to really understand how everything fits together in the ecosystem, all the different aspects. Sort of typically for a marine scientist, you work in the sea, you might work on the beach a bit, but to actually work sort of across the shore, underground and into the water, it's pretty amazing. We had the opportunity to really get in there and deep dive and turn up, look under every rock, literally, and we found all sorts of new things out there, new species of corals and invertebrates and things like that. So it's pretty unusual to have a species named after you. You have to be kind of lucky. I've only got one named after me, which is a land snail, a restricted land snail in the Kimberley region. Ampliragata Fitzpatricki is the name of this snail. They're what they call a short-range endemic, which means they're restricted to potentially one island. So if you're developing on that island, then you can potentially affect a species in its entirety. So we need to understand, is it one species, or is it and sort of interacting and moving between islands, or are they separate and individual species? And when you're looking at little islands in the Kimberley which have been separated for 10,000 years or more, the chances of them being different species or becoming just different species becomes higher. So I designed a study where we went to all of these little islands and climbed around in the sweaty rainforest thickets looking under rocks and collected a bunch of snails. And we did find quite a few snails and pseudoscorpions, and the snails all went off for genetic testing. And then when the genetics come out, it showed that they had diverged to the point they're different species, and there's probably 5 or 10 new species in there. And so they choose to name one after me, not because I look anything like a snail, or it looks anything like me, I hope. But because I designed the study, and if we hadn't done that study, we never would have found out about the snails and the way that they speciated between those island groups.